is how we do BDSM and tantric domination. Dear gods, dear goddess, dear lords of technology, let us be here together today in the live so that we can all answer the questions and not have any sound problems. If this is thy will, let thy will be done, and let's rock it. Amen.
Amen. Amen. So,
hallelujah. Sorry.
We had some sound problems, so that's why this a little bit late, but
thanks
everybody. Start on this Needs Cafe. 50 Shades Less Shady, More Juicy. And with us, we have the one and only tantric dominatrix Kalyss Mercury.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Great to have you here. You've been part of the NEAT Festival all years, isn't it?
I think so. No. I wasn't in the first one, but I was volunteer in the first one.
Yes, exactly.
Then I presented on the following ones. Yeah. It's been great.
Can you just introduce yourself a little bit? Maybe somebody maybe heard of you before, but if people haven't, who is the dominatrix Kalyss Mercury?
Yes. I'm Kalyss Mercury. On Facebook, I'm MK Mercury because they didn't believe Kalyss was a name. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it stayed. But I have been doing domination for 20 years and Tantra for 5, almost 6 now. And I started mixing the two, Tantra and BDSM. And for me, that has explosive capacity because there's so much overlap with things like spiritual practice and BDSM, actually. Because, like when you are surrendering, when you are in a submissive space, you have to let go. You have to trust a power greater than yourself, your Dom, right? And this is a practice that most spiritual teachers are trying to get us to do all the time in normal life, through meditation and prayer and all these different things. But I find that's like, all right, so why does it have to be meditation and prayer and spirituality on one side and hardcore domination, horny things on the other side? Why does it have to be separated? Because the two together, it's actually, it's magical. Let's just say that. Unconventional and contrarian, but magical. So I'm kind of priestess of polarities, a little bit of, I'm trying to bring this in. Well, I'm not trying, I'm kind of like figuring it out for myself in my own private life and actually living it, because I do have personal slaves and I practice BDSM with my husband as well. And as we practice, we learn all these things, and then I want to pass it on to people that I'm teaching. Mm-hmm. So I do domination one-on-ones. I also do coaching. And yes, Jimena is one of my students for many, many years. Nice to have you here, darling. So to be able to play with kink, I think like this is what 50 Shades Less Shady is about, because people have this idea, domination is very scary, it's the underground, it's hardcore, so there's a lot of negative associations with domination, and it doesn't have to be. It can be very playful. It can be a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm doing so much coaching and so much teaching, bringing this out to people so they can start practicing in their personal life. You don't have to like all of a sudden, get all the leather and the whips and the things and do all this. I'm kinky now. No, you can start with small things, find what is horny for you, find little things that you enjoy, and then like start integrating that into your personal life with your partner. So
for you, like this domination work, this is more like self-development than really about just good sex?
It's a bit of both, because good sex also develops you.
Yeah.
I find that like the deeper we get with sexuality, the more we have these aha moments. Because going in, I mean, when you think about an orgasm, when you go into an orgasm, it's almost like, did the earth move for you? It's like you and your partner is like, what is me? What is my partner? What is the universe? It's like, it's the one component or one time. Like sometimes it can last 5 seconds or 10 seconds or 3 hours, if you're doing Tantra. That sense of the orgasm, it's a connection to the divine. And this is something that many people can associate with. They recognize, oh yeah, when I have an orgasm, it's like explosive. And so it's good sex, but it also has a feeling of, is there something more? So this is part of kink tuition. I mean, kink tuition is a little word game with intuition. So for those who haven't caught that. So kink tuition is like, what is the kink trying to teach us? Because sometimes what we're attracted to within kink normally has deeper layers of things that we enjoy and why. So, and it's not like, all right, you like this, therefore you do this, or you are this thing, or you had these type of traumas or whatever. It's not a formula. Everyone is different. So building that up is just, it's just amazing. It's such a beautiful journey to go in and to explore.
So we can say it's kind of like, some can just think of kink and BDSM and stuff as like using whips or slapping one's back or whatever, but this is about going deeper, see what is underneath, to explore and just learn more about yourself, your partner, and your sex life, then, as I hear it.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing wrong with just doing the spanking and having a bit of slap and tickle, having fun with it. What I have found with 20 years in the game is that after people, and this is not just me, this is my clients, this is my friends, people that I know from the fetish community, people that I have been doing consistently, they start going, oh my God, did you ever notice that? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, have you felt this? But this is from practice. And sometimes people do a little bit and they don't do enough to start going deeper. And it's like, this kink stuff, it's not for me. Because they only go on the little surface. So I'm trying to get people, like, help them. You don't have to go through 20 years of trying to different things and sometimes getting so much confusion. I was just like, right, I have found some things that work really well. Things like Zen spanking, for example.
Yeah.
If you're using, this is for our next time also. We're going to talk about that later.
Yeah. So I'm just going to say, like, we have gotten some questions from the audience. And if people want to type a question here, you're very welcome to. And it's also very nice if you want to write a greeting and maybe where you're sitting as well, because that's cool. It's sad to not be able to see each other in real life, but still we can reach so many more people and so wider than we did with the physic passion cafes. So that's very nice also to hear where you are, because we see there's a crowd coming, more and more people to watch now.
True. That's good.
But you have actually touched into some questions already, but we start with one, because when you say what you work with, I guess that brings up quite a lot of questions from people.
Yeah. Yes.
So one question is, what do you consider challenging, or maybe most challenging, in your profession?
Most challenging. There's a few different things. I think that at least so far, currently, what I find most difficult is getting my point across beyond the traditional domination stuff, because there's so much the paradigm of, at least for femdom, let's not say domination in general, but, there's this sense of like the dominant has to almost mistreat the sub, like in terms of femdom, which is feminine domination, right? Female domination, is that it's like the matriarchy, so that the women are better than men are inferior, you have to serve the women, and, men are worms and all this stuff. And there's real heavy humiliation component around it. So I get a little bit frustrated with that, because so much of all the advertising and everything and Twitter and OnlyFans and all that stuff is just so heavily based on that old paradigm. But that paradigm comes from the non-consensual domination that has been the case for much of our history, not just in terms of femdom, but men dominating women as well. So a lot of cultural programs is that domination is like a forced thing, is non-consensual. It's you have to humiliate the other person, like the dominant person, the person in power has control and power and has to dominate the person, not dominate, but humiliate the person in the lower ranking. And this comes from history, from kings and queens and like tribal society and the chiefdoms and all this stuff. So this is kind of how we had it. And now that we have consent, we're still kind of stuck with that programming. It doesn't have to be that way. That's the thing. So I'm trying to change the component because when you start doing domination more, you really realize that it is a dance. It's not one person having power over the other, because the submissive has the power to say stop at any moment. This is power of consent. This is why we use safe words, because without the safe words, it's no fun. For me too, I don't want to play without a safe word because I don't want to feel like an abuser. I want to play within the boundaries of my submissive. I want to make sure that he or she feels safe. You want to push the boundaries a little bit, but all within consent, all within their own ability to say stop. If the person loses their ability to say stop, then it's no longer safe to play.
Can we then maybe start with, we have a question, so we will take that in later. That's great. Thank you.
It's getting warm.
Feel free to address. Like then a little bit from the start, like when a client comes to you, or when a couple or whoever people want to start playing at home, there's a few things then you need to talk about or think about beforehand.
Yeah, definitely. I always recommend for people to learn about their HYMN lists.
The what? You have to, explain.
Right. Hang on a second. This is going to be probably, no, it's not. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, hymna, okay.
The hymna lists, this is reverse. So from the H is the how.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you want to feel in a session? How do you want to feel when you're playing with kink? This has to do with emotions. For so many people, it's, they want to feel obedient or like a precious pet, or they want to be like a naughty schoolgirl, or, like, how do you want to feel when you're playing? Or as a dominant, do you want to be like the queen, or do you want to be the sergeant, evil mistress? So think about how you want to feel. This is the first bit is the how. Then you've got the why. It stands for yes. So these are the activities that when you think about them, it's like, hell yes, I really want to try this, right? Then you have the N. You can imagine what the N is. The N is the no, we're not doing that. Definitely not. And the M is maybe. So anything that doesn't fit on the yes and the no, you put it on the maybe list. And A stands for aftercare. Aftercare is what we need to do to be able to bring back, I'll just leave it there, to bring each other back into normality, into our normal state. Because when we go into a BDSM scene, we kind of become someone else. We play these roles, we agreed upon roles that we want to, embody in the play to create the power differential. So as a couple, and this has come up last year as well, when, especially now in Western society, couples have very equal, they have a lot of equality. They kind of both work, both look after the kids, so it starts to lack some polarity. And this is why sometimes couples have this issue of the sex just starts to get kind of no energy. The attraction disappears. And this is why BDSM is so cool, because it creates a very strong polarity. So one person's takes the power, one person becomes the submissive, but this has to be controlled within a space. This is also how to create a scene, it's like when nowadays this whole idea about going on a date night. Yeah, it creates a space. You're going to go on the date night. You have an anticipation. You want to plan for it. You want to feel what you're going to do. And so it creates a space. It's not like, oh, come home. Oh, we have to have sex, or, So in a BDSM scene, you can plan, all right, who's going to be the dominant? Who's going to be the submissive? What do we want to play? What's the yes? What's the maybe? What's the no? So you have these lists. So it's like a little cheat sheet, that you have that prepared. And you say, I would like to try this. And you can negotiate beforehand. I would love to try this. So it could also be creating a role play based on your favorite movies that you have with your partner. Or if you like Game of Thrones, or if you like superhero movies, you can play out a little bit that. So imagine like Wonder Woman and Batman are getting it on. Who's going to be the dominant? Who's going to be the submissive? You don't have to dress up, but you can embody that idea and create a little theater. And you can start with it. And then as you go, you don't have to be super in the role the whole time, but it's just to give you that first initial push to get into that power differential play. So this is why. So just finishing, this is why the aftercare is important, because then when you finish the session, whatever it be, if it's a 2 hours or 3 hour play, then this is finished. Now we can go back to our normal equality selves. Does that make sense? I know I went around about.
That makes sense. Very much so. But you said that, the maybe most challenging thing is to get across your point about what BDSM really is, and that we have many perceptions, many, I guess, judgments as well. And you talked about femdom, which is then that the female is dominating the male. Yeah. And you plan to have actually a workshop on that on the festival last year.
Yes. I hope that we have a festival this year with all COVID. Yeah, I would love to teach this more to women, because there's this attraction. I mean, if you think about it, 50 Shades of Grey came out and it was so popular. So many women were attracted to this whole idea of having a dominant male. And that's kind of, feminists are, turning over like, what are you thinking? This is horrible. But there's a sense of you need it because you miss the polarity. We're missing the polarity, and we don't know any better. So we just go back to how it was before, right? That idea of the man is the dominant, the female submissive, all this stuff. And it's quite a traditional, cultural, historical, power differential. But women can also gain a lot from being on the dominant role. And men, the difference here is really interesting, because studies have shown, what I found in my research for master's degree a few years ago, is that men are pretty much evenly distributed with, kinky men, people who are interested in kink. 30% or 1/3 want to be dominant, 1/3 want to be submissive, and 1/3 like both. That's men. Whereas women, or kinksters, kinky women, 60 to 70% want to be submissive.
Oh, wow.
And the leftover, between 40 and 30%, 10 or 20 want to can switch between both. And then only about 10 to 15% are 100% dominant the whole time. What is that coming from? I believe, I haven't done a study on that. That's my next research. I believe that has to do with cultural norms and the expectations that we have of women. And also that women don't have the role modeling for how to be dominant in a loving way. Because, a lot of concepts for femininity has this feeling of being loving, of being caring, of being kind, of being sensual. And then if you're dominant, most ideas of domination are very masculine.
Yeah.
So I feel that many women, they don't want to be dominant because they think they have to be masculine to be dominant, and they don't want to lose their femininity, or that they have to be evil and harsh with their partner in order to be dominant. They don't have to. So I'd love to give this is why I'm wearing this super girly, burlesque sort of top, to kind of bring this thing. You can do domination in any flavor that you like as a woman or as a man, really. There's the traditional fetish ideas of the latex pants and the boots and the leather and all that stuff, which is fun. And, it's enjoyable to get your groove on when you're starting, but you don't have to use that all the time. And I use this idea all the time. Like, I love to be dressed very feminine, burlesque, with the feathers on the hair and all this. And I still beat the crap out of my slaves. I still like dominate the crap out of them with a smile on my face and sweet girly ruffles. You don't have, so it's in a loving way. This is what I was talking about with the Zen spanking. When you use breathing and you're breathing together, it's almost like you become one creature, and you are just, giving yourself a massage, but your partner becomes a part of you. And it's really amazing.
And I think here the question fits very well in. So why do often dominas dress up so much? If we are on top, we should not have to try so hard to be attracted to the sub. They should groom and dress up, right? So have you ever had a session where you like looked your worst in a way? Or really, dressed down, like being the stinky little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I think it depends on the person. I do I dominate my partner regularly without having makeup on. Sometimes in the morning, it's like just woke up, no makeup, didn't brush my teeth yet, just like, right, I want you to lick my feet right now or something, so it's kind of, if it gets sexy, like on a Sunday morning, you don't have to go anywhere. We kind of get a little bit naughty in bed, and it can go in that way. So yes, still in my pajamas, and you can still dominate from that space. But I think that it has to do with how you empower yourself, how you like to empower yourself. And for many women, they enjoy the fashion. They enjoy the way that they look. I'm not dressing for my sub. I'm dressing for myself, because I feel more confident. Like, to be honest, like, I had to change. I'm in my bed right now. So I had to change. I was going to go to my dungeon office space, but I have a bit of a sore throat. So I didn't want to get out of the house or get on the tube or anything like this, I didn't want to get on the train. And I was feeling really crappy today. I'm like, I can't believe I'm going to have to do the Need Festival, and today I have no energy, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. And then I had my alarm, okay, go get ready. And I started getting dressed. And as I'm getting dressed, I feel good now. So it kind of helps me get in my zone. It might help others as well. And it's not like you have to dress in a particular dominant way. It's more what empowers you. For some people, it is a sort of like nice tailored suit, or it could be, something lacy and something sensual. Some people like silk. Some people like fur. It really is dressing for yourself. And I think that subs should dress up too, to be honest. I agree with you, Hannah. So I tell my subs to, like, get some nice underpants, and, most of the time then the pants come out very quickly, but yeah. So does that answer your question? Hopefully. I'll check that.
Yeah, we'll get another one if you want to go on. But then that is the role of the female. So then, but the role of the male, like, one comment here that dominant men maybe consider male subs less intelligent, or less masculine, or less worth, or whatever.
Less worthy.
Also something bad misconception.
Yeah. There's so much. People are judging each other all the time, and there's this thing of like, oh, this way is the best way, and there is no one true way of doing domination. Of course, people who are like males, a lot of male doms have been doing the tradition of cultural programming, which is that, to be a real man, you have to be dominant and be the king and be the thing. And that is just what society has been trying to drill into people. But it doesn't have to be that way. And in a way, like, there's also, I have so many subs that are highly intelligent, highly committed, and also, CEOs of companies and super intelligent, super smart. I have a few geeky tech pets, constantly saving me when my website is fucking up and all the things like this. And like, I know nothing about the tech stuff, and they just save my ass all the time with all the codes and all this stuff. And they are super smart. But there's something about, I think, the exchange of power, the idea of power is something that's so ingrained in society. And I'm always inviting people to break that down for yourself. What does power mean to you? And what is just power within a relationship? Who's in charge of this? Who's in charge of that? Why do we have these choices? And do we choose them, or are they chosen to us by society or by culture or by family, whatever? So we can make these choices ourselves. It gets a bit more complicated because then you have to make a decision on it and think about it and feel, and it might change day by day. Some days I feel super domestic and I want to, be a little bit girly and do all the cleaning and everything. I switch as well. I'm kind of on a more dominant side of switch. I don't do a lot of submissive stuff, but when I do it, I want to really do it, and I want to wear the collar and I want to be nicely, because submissive girls dress up as well. So it's this question of I think it's more masculine, feminine energy rather than dom sub thing. Yeah, but it changes, it varies.
Can you think of it as like to be dominant towards your partner if you're
Something happened. Uh-oh. I hope she's still good. The internet's down. Well, she's I can't see her yet at the moment, but I will check the other question. I am live again. See, technical difficulties. We need a sub to help me. I'm okay. Kirsty needs a sub to help her. Yes. Yes, Shimena says that her boots give a lot of vibe when I wear them. Yes, that's true. I'm online by myself now. Oh, she's back. Maybe. So I'm just reading the comments to see if there's a question I can answer while we're getting the technical difficulties sorted out. Yeah, this idea of power. Oh, you're back. You had the technical difficulties now. You need a sub. I can't hear you though.
Oh, let's see.
Let me try that again. I almost change my settings because it was working.
Yeah, something. Can you hear me now?
Oh, here we go. You are on now. Okay, good.
Okay.
Let's continue. I was just about to tell them about this that men that are not dominant are like less dominant than if they're under a woman, if they're submissive to a woman, then they're submissive to everyone, to other men as well. And that's total bullshit, in my opinion. Sorry. Because a person decides to be submissive to someone else doesn't mean that they're submissive to anybody just because they're submissive. It is a consent between person and person. So this idea that, and same thing with being a slut, for example, if you're slutty and you're horny, doesn't mean that you're horny towards everybody, that you have no parameters. It is that you are horny towards certain people. And when you are, you feel relaxed about being horny in that way. So that's something that's also widespread in society. And I think it should change because people are submissive or horny towards a particular person, not in general.
So do you think that if people are into kink and couples that they should try and switch, even if that's not kind of what they feel instantly, or what do you? Yeah.
Yes, definitely. I want to do a class on switching because it's so powerful, and there's so much that even if it's not their normal identity, there's so much that you can learn from playing on the other side. And it can be just a little bit playful, a little bit like, okay, I'm gonna be the sub today. Let's see how that will turn out. I've had I actually did a of course, in Australia last year, beginning of last year, where we had a big group, and one of the exercises, people had to walk around and pair up and figure out who was going to be the dom, who was going to be the sub. They were not going to go have sex with each other, but just for like a minute or two, they had to kind of show with their body how dominant they were and how submissive they were. And sometimes there was two men with each other, and they were like doing this sort of like army things, and one being more, more powerful than the other, but it was still, I am strong or whatever. But they could still be playful with each other. And then there was one time when I have a friend who's like super dominant all the time. He's like a super male top guy, teaches kink and all this. And during this exercise, at one point, he was this puppy dog, and he was running around as a puppy dog, and this woman, complete new girl, she was like the dominant. And later on, he was like, oh my God, it was so fun to not be the top. I could relax for a moment. I should do this more often. I'm like, yeah, you should. So, it just, there's an art to switching, and we have to do a whole workshop on that. But it definitely helps. And also not just switching dom sub, but switching polarities, like if you're doing like masculine or feminine. Because when you are, the masculine energy gets really recharged when they go into their feminine. So if a man dresses up or does more surrender things, like with domination, if they surrender, if they let go of control, they can also enjoy things like anal play, or just feeling like they're being told what to do. And as the woman, you can. I'm expressing it as a male female couples, all right, but it can be masculine feminine in any couples, yeah. To have the woman can say, all right, I want you to massage me, I want you to kiss my feet or comb my hair, and it can be like the handmaiden in a way, that recharges the masculine super fast. And then when it switches back, your man is like, yeah, I'm in control now. Come here, baby girl, and you kind of can go, oh, okay, I'll surrender now. So women who are seeking and longing for that 50 Shades of Grey, come take me, princess feeling, dominate your man for half an hour. That will work. So we can do that at Knit Festival, and I can teach you some tricks, and give you some ideas also how to dominate your man.
I think that is a great idea and a great tip. Yeah. But when it comes to being submissive, to submit, you said something about like people could come to you just to learn to let go, or to really let go, because not everyone is able to be a sub or to let go or to give away their control. Is it? Or what's your experience?
Not everybody is able to. I think that where there's a will, there's a way, or I say where there's a whip, there's a way. There's so much that you can learn from surrendering, and it doesn't have to be about pain. That's another misconception about BDSM, that we have to be hurting each other to have an effect. No, you can do things like sensation play, and so can use things like a feather, or even I have this game that I play with my online subs. You use a feather and a fork. Yeah, everybody has a fork in their house, and you can just use it on the arm to feel. Because I've got nice nails, but many men don't, right? To really feel that sensation on the skin, on the body, and to really like run the fork across, and then run the feather across. We've got fork, feather, and it's just sort of beautiful sensation. That's something else that we're going to discuss in the next event. And the contrast of sensations can be an amazing, beautiful thing. So to take your partner, like give them like a smorgasbord of sensations. So having all these different textures, they can't do anything. They have to lie down and just let their body be touched. So you just like go slow, go slowly, softly, maybe a little bit sharper here and there, but and they're breathing together and really just feeling the sensation, receiving the energy, like, isn't it nice to receive a massage? You don't have to massage your partner, but you can give them sensation play. And that's one way to dominate and surrender,
Yeah. So I'm thinking, like mindfulness has become very popular as a kind of way of treatment, especially if it's tested for women with a lack of sexual energy or libido.
Yeah.
And that many people have a hard time to let go of their thoughts and the mind stuff when they have sex.
Yeah.
So things pop up. So how can kink or BDSM be helpful for that, to just help you be mindful here and now and with your body and with your partner and not in the office?
Well, if you are in the dominant role, you have to be really present with what's going on with your sub. So you have to be kind of like they're giving you their power. So you have to have your own power and their power combined. So you have to be ultra present and really pay attention to all the things that are going on in the room, in the space, with the list, the hymnal lists that they had. I always have it written down and hidden somewhere, and then I can always go and check if I forget what I should be doing. So you have, you have something to focus on. In the BDSM, you have a storyline, you have a list of activities that you want to go through. You want to be breathing together. I'm always reminding my subs, breathe deeper, make sounds, because when you're making a sound, when you're vibrating the body, it enhances the ability to feel pleasure. Everybody wants to feel more pleasure. So breathe, moan, make sounds. And I think people are too quiet here in Northern Europe. Come on, make sounds. And excuse my coughing. And so using these techniques help you become more focused in the present moment. Because you have to be paying attention to what's going on with the person. You can't be thinking of something else. From the submissive's perspective, if you are reminded, like if you are tied up, you have to be paying attention. Like I always tell my subs, you're going to surrender, but you have to keep 10% responsibility to be able to focus on your sensation, to tell me if it's your safe word or not. Because I can't read your mind. So, I can be doing all sorts of things, but I can't know when it's their safe word, when, they get their 10 out of 10 and it must stop. So they have to keep that focus to remember. And I tell them to give me numbers. That's another thing we can use as well. Use numbers to gauge how far or how much intensity is going on. So if a person is like at 1 or 2, usually a little bit boring. So you can kind of go a little bit, more intensity or more activity, doing different things. And when a person's at 8, it's getting a bit too close to 10, so this is kind of where you start to slow down. Doesn't mean you stop, but you can slow down or change directions, do something else. And if a person is at 9, unless they're very experienced, they like to ride a 9, as we say, then kind of take it back a notch, and just relax. So with so much intensity and so much sensation and having to focus, okay, is this my 9? Is this my 8? What number is this? If my mistress asks me, what number is this? Right? So they have to keep that focus, which is in a way, it's like a meditation technique. I'm running a body scan. How's my body? How am I doing? I need to breathe. I need to focus on the sensations. I need to pay attention to my body. You can't be thinking about work next week.
No.
So and sometimes I notice slaves are spacing out a little bit. I'm like, hey, be here with me. I don't want you away fantasizing about something else. I want you here with me. Come back. So this is also a technique with paying attention to where your sub is, if they are breathing, if they are making sound, how is, really feedbacking all the time is how I like to dominate. I'm not this sort of quiet dom, just doing things. So I'm very much chatting and discussing things through the session to have more focus and presence with each other.
To have contact. But I'm thinking there might also be a misconcept that, that BDSM, kink, whatever, it is about the goal is to have sex in the end, to be sexual, to have some sort of penetration here or there or whatever. Like, is that how it has to end for it to be like a good?
I've been a dominatrix for 20 years. I think I had sex with 5 clients my whole career because they were really hot. So back in the day when I wasn't married, but it's very rare. And many doms, you can find this out like in the domination scene, many doms don't have sex with their clients either, because it is not about that. In the male dom, female sub is a little bit different, because part of the masculine thing is that I am going to take you and penetrate you, so that is a little bit more common in that scenarios. But you can keep it apart. And I always say as well, kink is play. It's not foreplay. It's just play.
Yeah.
So you can enjoy just the sensations and being in that space. And you can always like finish the scene and then go and have sex if you want. But you don't have to. You can leave the sex to another time, just to experience and explore what these sensations activities can teach you, and how you find out about your body. I sometimes, if I'm playing with my husband and we're doing some domination play and stuff, I can sometimes have body orgasms from things like foot worship, for example, that are stronger than if we're having sex. So why do I need to have sex? It's just like, but this is something to train.
But that might also help to take the pressure off the situation also, that you have to end up like this or that way.
Yeah. There's not a particular ending. I mean, people have different expectations and, depending on their hymnalists, what they want to achieve in the session, what they want to create in the session. But there's been so many times where I had all this plan, all these lists, and then something was too much or too intense. And then we had to stop the session, change completely, cut it short, do a lot of nurturing instead, go straight to aftercare, so it can be like sometimes we have all these plans and then things don't work out. Actually, I had a session with a sub who's really into electroplay, right? And so we had everything planned. We had like 3 boxes of electricity things, and it was like, right, I'm going to connect everything and then I'll turn it on, So it took me probably 20 minutes to set everything up. And then something happened. I think the chair had a little creak or like cracked a little bit. And all of a sudden he was really scared, and it was too many things and it was too much. And it's like, okay, stop, turn everything off, take everything off, sit down, lie down, breathe. Let's get you out of the panic. Relax. Gave him a cuddle. All right, here's some chocolate, It's just totally fine. All right, we'll do it another day. So be prepared. If things don't turn out perfectly, it's okay as well. That it also, when things fuck up, I notice it brings you closer as a couple, because challenges, I mean, this is also research shows, challenges create bonding. So if you're going through a painful or a challenging situation together, it gets you closer together. This is why a lot of couples that have lived through world wars and things like this, they are so in love and connected and so deep with each other, because they lived through shit together. They lived through a lot of issues, and sometimes couples who had tragedies in their life together, it kind of gets them closer together. You don't have to create a tragedy. Just do some BDSM that has some challenging pieces in it. That creates bonding. This is why I like to invite people to test with a little bit of pain, because when you work through pain together, I mean, the person who's receiving the pain, they feel the pain. The person who's giving the pain, they observe the pain, and the mirror neurons turn on. So it's creating this compassion piece, because the person doing it is also watching and receiving it. So it creates a feedback loop. And so it's like you're going through an ordeal together. And at the end of it, like, wow, that was intense. You managed to take all that whipping, electro, whatever you're into. But if you push that challenge, push that boundary to the edge, you will create stronger bonding with each other. And this is also another reason why I recommend BDSM for enhancing polarities in couples, when things are a bit still.
This is so exciting, and it's such a big field. But what I'm thinking is like you really, you have a passion for teaching people about this, because there are, I mean, yes, you can go and read a book or see 50 Shades or whatever, and you can kind of play. But if you want to go a bit deeper, if you want to learn more what it's about, then it is actually good to learn from someone professional.
Yeah, there's many ways to learn. I find that experiential learning is the best way to learn, because I mean, you can, like you were saying, you can read a book forever, but then you actually, if you read a book about going ice skating, and then you go ice skating, it's like, oh my God, that's what happened to me, right? Coming to Norway. It's like, oh, it's so beautiful. Oh my God, it's so cold. So feeling it in the body and the slipperiness and all this, and like really learning how to, be balanced and all these things. I couldn't learn that from a book. I could kind of have an imagination about it. But really living through it is another story. And especially these things that are so intimate, when you're going through things, and if you have an experience that is an ordeal, that is a challenging experience, the submissive, sometimes you get that sort of, that I'm about to cry sort of feeling, and as the dominant, he's like, come here. You're okay. It's fine. It's fine. You're doing great. That was wonderful. That creates such strong bonding. You can't read about that. You have to feel it. I've had a few couples that are my clients. After they've done a few sessions, they go, it's like, all right, teach you stuff, now go play. And then a few months later, they're messaging me, oh my God, I can't believe this, and they're so excited. It's like, this is like better than going on a hallucinogenic trip, because you get like this high, the polarity play. It's just amazing. And sometimes it's all it takes is me going, you can do it like this. And even just guiding a person's hand. Yeah. Oh, it's okay. And especially for women, there's this feeling of, I don't want to hurt my partner. It's like, okay, that's fine. Who likes horseback riding? Which women like to horseback ride? You have a whip. You hit the horse a little bit like this. The horse is not going to feel anything, right? You have to really hit it. And in a way, some men are a bit like that as well. They need some stronger sensation. They don't have such soft skin as women have. They need a little bit more, yeah. And they realize, I can really hit him and he's enjoying it. Okay, then let me try a bit more. So getting that confidence to do it, to just have the modeling of having someone do it and getting permission to do it, and seeing the reaction of their partners when they receive that sort of stuff from someone who is a professional, it takes a lot to really damage a person with little soft leather whips. It's not, it's actually very hard to do severe damage. Some whips are more dangerous than others. And this is also what I like to teach couples, like, right, if you're going to get a whip, this is a good type. This is a good type. This is a bit too dangerous. This is a bit extreme. So you don't go to a sex shop and get the super hard whip and then go use it at home. And no, this is too much. This stuff is not good. And then you get rid of it because you were using the wrong tool. It's a shame. You don't want that. You want to, yeah.
Exactly. And it is, in these Corona times, I mean, there's so many things that is a bit harder, but you come up with a suggestion, a plan actually for people who maybe are listening now or who wants to explore more into this field, and to get some feedback and to learn something. So tell them, where can they be part of that?
All right. So in a couple of weeks, March 25th, we're going to do another, it's not going to be a knit cafe. It's going to be a knit workshop. Isn't it? Yeah. So this is going to be more hands-on workshop where, so it's the Kink Lab, which some of you may have experienced before at Knit Festival, and not last year, but the previous year. Yeah. I did the Kinky Lab, and the Kink Lab is about getting down and dirty with it, like, so I bring you some tools and you explore. How do we do this online? Not everybody will have a whip, but everybody has a fork and a feather, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go through a few things. So in an hour and a half, I'm going to give you the basis of how to set up a scene, it's like, okay, how to plan your date night, how to plan your kinky date night, and just give you a few basic tips on that, because it's fairly easy to do, and talked about the hymnal lists, but we'll go in more detail about that. And I can send you, like, everybody who gets a ticket and participates, I'll also send you some sheets that you can, and like a little bit of description, so you can actually go deeper into the lists and the negotiation. And then we're going to go into some sensation play. So how to explore. And this week, we're going to have, you can do it to yourself, and then you can do it to your partner. Because I want people to feel it themselves first to experience the sensation. And there will be a list of items. I think it's a fork, a feather, or a brush, like a paintbrush or a makeup brush. Some ice cubes. There was something else as well. I can't remember right now, but it's on the list in the description. Yeah. And then, so we do some sensation play and explore that together. So as we're going to be doing it together. So I'm going to be doing it to myself. You're going to have to be doing it too.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm part of it. Mm-hmm.
So, make sure it's, if you want to be private, you can turn off your video. It's all right. But, if you're doing it and you're actually being there and I can see you doing it, I can kind of give you some feedback. Like sometimes people are touching themselves and they're doing this.
Yeah.
It's not painting the wall. It's not wax on, wax off, right? It's not. It's soft, very slowly. It's like 1 centimeter per second, and that activates your oxytocin mechanism in your brain. They've done research here in Oslo about that, by the way. So I can send you the studies about that. So having like a paintbrush go at this speed on the body actually creates oxytocin, which is the cuddle chemical, the connection chemical. So you do this to yourself, you get deeper connected with yourself. You do it with your partner, deeper connection with the partner. So sensation play. And the third thing we're going to do is Zen spanking. So tantric spanking, how to play. So I'm going to give you some very basic skills of spanking, like how to spank, how to use your hand, what different modalities you have, because there's different styles you can use. And the most valuable piece, I think, is the feedback. So if you have your video on, I can see you doing it and going, try it this way. I can't go there and hold your hand. Unfortunately, I can't do that. Maybe in a few years we'll have the technology to do that. But in my mind. But I can basically like see what you're doing and going, oh, try having your hand like this, and give you a little bit of feedback on what you're actually doing. To be able to do that, is best that you are wearing some bikini or some underpants. So wear something that you feel comfortable in. So I like to say wear swimwear, because, if you wear it to the beach, you'll be comfortable being in public with other people, because if you have jeans on, you're not going to feel the spanking. And then you're not going to be able to give feedback to your partner. Is this hard? Is this soft? This is boring. This is great. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So skin contact will give you the best feedback. So.
It sounds super exciting. I've never been part of that kind of thing online before. So I'm looking forward. And we will post. So there's a question about the hymna. We will write down the what it stands for in the comments.
Yeah.
And we will also post the link to the next event on Thursday, the 25th of March. But there are just a handful of tickets. Can you, if you are single, if you have a partner, who can sign up?
Well, you can sign up if you're single or if you're with a partner. The first 2 parts, the building a scene and sensation play, you can do by yourself. That's totally no problem. The Zen spanking is a little bit more difficult to do it by yourself. You can still do it. You can still learn. I mean, I do this with my clients online now because we can't see each other, so like, right, spank yourself. It's a little bit weird at first, but it actually works amazingly. If you do the breathing and all this, it does work. And it also gives you a feedback for yourself. I'm always teaching also with the whip. Always use the whip on yourself first to see what it feels like before you whip someone else.
Yeah.
So this is generalized with or without COVID. I tell people to do that. So here's an opportunity for you to practice by yourself. So people who don't have a partner yet, connect with your body in this way. And then when you do connect with a partner, you already have the basic parameters for yourself. You're good. You don't have to start learning about yourself and then, so it's a good way to get started, like keep the motor going for yourself. So singles or couples. I think the price for the single is 169 kroner. And for couples is 333, because it's
cool. That's nice.
333 is like, just as evil, but only half the calories, It's just.
So it's open for all ages, all genders, and
Actually, you have to be 18. I prefer for people to be 18.
Yes,
Do that.
Yeah, that's true.
Just yeah.
From 18 to 98.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we'll post that link too. And I want to mention before we finish off here, the day before on the 24th, we're going to have another Needs Cafe with a totally different topic: how to have a healthy and good sex life and a relationship with your partner when you have small kids.
Yes.
So that can also be a challenge, but you can do both of them because they can be useful, different tools.
Yes, different tools. I mean, I have stepkids as well. So I'm kind of, managing all these different things and picking kids at school and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's possible to have a kinky life and have a family life as a parent. I know plenty of kinky parents out there. So you don't have to, there's not like separation between the two. It's totally, just find a date that your kids are with the grandparents or, find space for that so you can explore.
That's possible too. That's great. And last thing I want to mention, today I finished the scheme for, we need more people for the festival team. So somebody feels that they would like to help to plan the festival, do communication work on social media, making webpage or whatever. So there's a form now on our webpage, and we posted it on Facebook and stuff. So
volunteers.
Yes, for volunteers to join in for bigger or smaller tasks, So that's open too.
I was a volunteer in 2019. Actually, no, 2018 when you started.
Yes, 18.
Yeah, 2018, and it was a lot of fun. I had a great time. It was really nice to participate in a bigger space with these beautiful positive sexuality, and to connect with others as well. Made some really good friends during the time. So I highly recommend that.
Thank you. Kalyss Mercury.
Before we hang up,
yes,
I'd like to point out that my Kink Tuition coaching, I'll put the link as well of my website. It's Kink Tuition, a little bit of a mouthful. So it's like intuition with kink in the beginning. Kink Tuition. So if you are looking forward, you can come to the workshop as well and then follow on if you like. If you want more private or if you don't want to be online, like in a public space, we can do private online coaching through videos. And I think from next week onwards, it's open again. So we can have meetings as well to be, with the spacing and all this if you want to learn more about kink. Okay.
Fantastic. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Take care. Stay kinky.